Anything that it's just earth-shattering in this latest debt ceiling vote for you, or we've seen this movie before? Who wants to start, Gary?
I think what's earth-shattering is they got it done.
Is it going to be done?
How many days, weeks, and months have you sat here in this network and in this room and talked about the catastrophic effect of not getting a debt ceiling deal done? That's all we talked about for literally this last, 3 months. Everyone talked about how bad it would be, and people questioned the ability of the White House and the Speaker to be able to sit down and get a deal done. So I think what is the most important thing to start out with is we have a deal. We have a deal. We got through the Rules Committee last night, going to the full House floor tonight. Look, you never know what can happen on the House floor, but it feels to me that we will get a bipartisan vote tonight. As all of the leaders have said, we need to have a bipartisan bill.
If you listen to Hakeem Jeffries or actually the president himself, he was really definitive that he wouldn't negotiate anything but a clean debt ceiling. What do you think happened behind the scenes? Did the reality that some of he'd be the first president that ever had the default, the debt factor in it? Because he became the old Joe Biden, didn't he? The deal maker, Biden?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. Until the Republicans could come up with their own proposal that they could get through the House, there was no reason for the White House to negotiate.
Yeah.
The White House was taking the posture, as I would have advised them to, or anyone at this table would have advised them to. Look, you have to pass a debt ceiling increase because all you're doing is passing legislation to pay for things that you have agreed to spend in the past. So if you can't legislate for that, it's not my problem as the White House. It's your problem as Congress.
Right.
Once McCarthy got together with his caucus and they passed a bill that would raise the debt ceiling, all of a sudden the tables turned. The Republicans had a solution to the problem. The Democrats did not like the solution. It sort of forced them to come to the realization that, okay, the Republicans have put a solution on the table. The ball went from their court to our court. Now we're forced to respond.
And the solution had a bunch of things that we all recognize as true, which is we've got a spending problem. We have a labor problem. That's one of the things that's driving inflation. And McCarthy was very smart to put those things front and center, and I think the American people, particularly the people in the middle, said, you know what? These are reasonable asks.
You mean the work requirements as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. What I'd say to the part of the Democratic Party that doesn't want to do this is, look, it's not going to kill you for COVID funds to do that. That's not a bad thing. It's not going to kill you. Some of these things are you shouldn't just dismiss them out of hand. To the Republicans that say it's not enough, I would say win some elections. You didn't have the presidency or the House or this, and all this has already been passed while you were there, twiddling it, whatever you're doing. So at this point, let's move forward.
And on that, moving forward, the second order effect of this is, what are the things that are going to drive growth in America? Because whether you look at it from the right or you look at it from the left,
government spending,
we need growth
and a bigger government.
Actually, to your point, if you told the two of us you were going to spend $9 trillion, let's pick any number, in early 2020, we'd say that you'd have 5 or 6% growth. Now you'd have an inflation problem, but you'd have crazy growth. One of the questions we ought to be asking ourselves is, with all that fiscal stimulus, how come growth is pretty anemic?
What's your guess?
What's my guess?
Yeah.
Look, we have the same problems that we had in 2019, 2020. And it's pretty simple. Energy independence, we can deal with that. Immigration and labor, they go together. And housing. We subsidize the heck out of housing at the federal level, but we restrict the heck out of it at the local level. We have, 5 million? I mean, you guys did a lot of work on this. We have 5 million too few homes?
Yeah. At least 5 million too few homes. Exactly. We're encouraging people to create homes. We're one of the very few countries in the world that would even think about allowing financial institutions to create a 30-year fixed mortgage, which is a dangerous, dangerous instrument. But we still don't have enough homes, even with allowing the financial engineering to make homes more affordable.
How do you fix that? Because the home builders themselves all kind of reined things in, didn't want to be caught in the position they were caught in back in 2008.
Well, it's a little bit of what's in this bill to some issue. The home builders are happy to build homes, the whole permitting process and the environmental review and the cost to be able to get a building permit today is extraordinary. So the amount of time and effort it takes for you to build a house before you can even go to the piece of land and take down the trees or put a basement or put a foundation in is extraordinary amount of time sink. If we had more surety of execution, where you owned a piece of land and you said, look, in 6 months or 12 months, I can have a house built on this piece of land, I think you'd start seeing a lot more houses built. The problem is if I say I'm going to build a house or I'm going to build multifamily on that land, and you in your building window's a year, but your regulatory window could be X years, and X could be 5 or 6 or 7 years, and you're carrying the land, it's not that great of a return on investment.
Yeah, and look, we have very nimble capital markets. Incredibly nimble capital markets. We actually have a regulatory state that is getting less and less nimble, whether it's mergers, whether it's permitting for energy, whether it's housing, and those two don't match up. That's part of our problem.